Introducing Nix-chan Sugoi advantages. Everything packaged just fine on Chan. Don't move using stuffies. Nix-chan never changes up the results. You can always count on it. Super easy to build stuffies on Chan. You're the smartest. Change package thingies without icky stuffies. Source space is the best. One package manager to bring them all. Wiki magic stuffies. Switching dev stuffies the breezy with that thing thingy. Try out packages without icky stuffies behind. Next shells is a lifesaver. Drips can do anything. Next can refresh the goodies. No sweaties. Binary caches mean wasty waiting. Next Chan hates compiling too. Setting up caches is pretty easy. Even a bad girl like me can do it. Remote building? That's amazing. Tasty fluffy wuffy. It wants some waxy fingies and a fruity OS. Sugoi desu. Next Chan can win all by herself. Mixing packages without breaking? Yes please. Thanks, they sound important. Pinning versions, smart depends. And this is the reason why NixOS makes my heart go doki doki. You tell NixOS what you want and poofy, it just happens. Wishy, easy to change stuff up, unfixed boo-boos. Share your setup with fans on Chan. They think you're a hero. Deploying stuffies is a snappy. Rollbacks are the best. So many option easies. Wiki everything I could ever want. No nasty side effects. It's like magic cleaning poofies. VMs with barely any effortsies on Chan. You're a genius. Friends can try my setup too. It's the coolest. Please kill me.
My apologies for whatever the fuck that you guys just want. I just want to say I have spent like hours just editing that part. So please show some appreciation, okay? That's what you have to do when you try to make content. I know this has been like 9 months since I ever released the last Linux video. And at the end of the video, I did hint that I'm using NixOS. And guess what? Surprisingly, I used that on my main PC. I'm now dual booting Windows and Linux, and let me tell you, I can't believe this video has taken me so long to make simply because of uni stuff. However, because of that, I have basically created a accidental long-term review, sort of, because I've been like dual booting it for so long. So that's the good news out of it, I guess. Now, before we start talking about my experience with NixOS, we must answer what. Obviously, NixOS.
So NixOS. So this is a distro
because I posted a short yesterday of us talking about Nix from the last podcast, and we made a comment about it not being a Linux distro, and boy did that piss a lot of people off.
It is a distro, obviously, but now you may wanna ask, why do I ever see it every night, and why do I see it in Unix porn, like this little snowflake in Unix porn every couple of posts? And Nekomi, why are you the one using it? Well, then obviously there's a lot of them. That's what I'm gonna tell you today. And honestly, compared to other Linux distros, this thing is a rabbit hole within a rabbit hole on itself, I swear to god. One of the things that you notice about NixOS, it belongs to a category of so-called immutable distros. What does immutable distros mean? Essentially any distro that sort of like locks down the core systems of the file. You can't really edit it in any direct means. This means that this can be like a safer way to do things so that you won't accidentally mess things up, like, I don't know, deleting system 32 type shit. This list of distros includes Fedora Silverblue, SteamOS, and Manjaro. Whatever the hell Manjaro is trying to do, I guess. But the good news with this system like this is that every time you try to want to change something, it will try to make a new version of itself, so that if the new version, which is the thing after you make the change, somehow, I don't know, piss itself or something, you can always roll back and do it some other way, you know, try it again, if you know what I mean. So that you always have some sort of system that you can handle. But if it replicates every time you try to make a change, does that mean it takes up a lot of space? Yes. In fact, it does. But the good news is that NixOS does have a garbage collector, so you don't really need to worry about that really. In which by making a change, I don't mean something like saving a new file or something. It's usually something big, like changing some of the core system components or adding a new package or removing a package, something like that. So that, you know, don't worry, you probably don't have to do this that much as you may think. In Nix, there's their own interesting way of doing packages, which I will be explaining right now. The other thing that's interesting about NixOS is that it has a, well, they call it a declarative package manager. What does declarative mean by now? If you have been using Linux for quite a while, you also know how to install and delete packages whatsoever. So you usually like type a command onto it, right? However, in Nix, things work a bit differently. So you have to write all your packages that you want into one file, in one massive config file, update the config file, and then magically, all the files that you want that you listed on the config file will appear. Not only that, after every time you try to like read the massive system config file, it will just replicate itself into another generation, so that the ones, like, just in case if anything breaks, you can always fall back, which I didn't mention previously. Another cool thing that I've sort of like noticed is that there is like barely any dependency issues that have occurred. You know, sometimes when you like install a bunch of packages, right, and you thought like you don't need that packages and you remove it, and then you realize some other packages need that packages, so you sort of have to like install it again, you know. So far from what I have done anyways, it seems that you don't really need to do this. For example, you know Hyperland, right? They does list a bunch of like dependencies, and however in Nix, you just write one line and all the dependency will just like handle it for you. Which is quite nice. Regarding package manager, obviously the other thing that you want to know about package managing is that what's the update cycle? Regarding update schedules, there are always like two main kinds of them, like Arduino is like rolling, and the other ones that like Ubuntu or Debian, which is like they have released one big update every certain amount period. So if you're asking what NixOS has, why not both? Yeah, I kid you, you can have both. You can literally choose whether you want to have a rolling system or a periodically 6-month system, like update 1 big, update 6 months. You know what? I will just do an update right now. Hello, I know this is a bit weird. Okay, welcome to Pi Linux. Obviously, unfortunately, the screen looks weird simply because I'm using a 1980 x 1200 monitor. Unfortunately, that's sort of a hardware issues that I can't really fix. But anyways, what I'm gonna do is simply because, well, 25.5 version just released, so I can basically do it right now. So I'll sort of like demonstrate how you sort of like upgrade this shit. So obviously, obviously you need to read the documentation. No shit. I mean, of course, choosing stable channel. If I'm probably talking about it right now, that's which is what I've been already doing. I have to do this like every 6 months. So I will just copy this to my terminal. And obviously, yeah, I think you need sudo, right? Right? Oh, good. What he didn't realize at the time that the first command also requires sudo. Yeah, the last time I've done this is like during like November, which I did this in the middle of a lecture. So, oh, I look like a fucking hacker man now. Well, it seems there are two things that happened. One, oh yeah, I literally forgot to add sudo in front of this command, and also the fact that when I try to upgrade it, for some reason the fonts that I use, nerd fonts, right? They decided to change the name of it and add a fucking hyphen on it. If you like go at the last before, it is nerd fonts, right? However, when they do this new version, they decided to change the fucking name of it for some reason. Well, they decided to change the name of it, and not only that, they basically, because package has so many fonts in it, if you look at downloads, there are so many fonts that you can choose from. They don't want people to download every single font, so they decided to do this, separate every part of it, I guess. And now I'm updating now because of it. But sometimes this happens, you know, when like package name changes, you know, I guess that's one of the problems, I guess. Dude, what the fuck do you want to public license? I can't believe this license exists. What the fuck is this? Dude, what the fuck you want to Damn, this needs to be in the video.
Obviously, if we can see it, those things are a bit different now because they changed the version now. Fine, this kind of confirms that I finished the update. Not only that, if you can see these versions, right? Those are the older versions if you can see, but you can still roll back that, which is what I said about rolling back. So just in case if this doesn't work, you can roll back to the other ones.
Guys, holy shit, I don't know how, but like after an update, the audio on my laptop works. Previously, I can only use it through my headphones, but now for some reason it works. I don't know how, but it does. The third thing I want to mention about the distro is that, remember earlier when I mentioned about the config file, right? Imagine if you can move this file, put it in a different computer, do the same thing again, and all your things, all your packages, all your setups will be there exactly how you want it. Now that's what this distro does, which is called reproducibility. What they're trying to do is that to make sure every single computer, if like something works on your system, it works on every other single system. This is pretty much the three things I really want to say about special about this distro. After learning about this, I was like, oh my god. This is literally the fucking future, bro. Like, imagine you can do this. You're an IT guy, manager in a massive company, and you have to deploy hundreds of employee computers, you know? You just need to do it with one single file, even for personal use, right? In case if your like computer got broken, you can have the same setup on using the same file on a different newer computer. This is why it basically just, after hearing those things, it basically just brought it in. I feel like it's gonna be
Massive.
in like the next few years, in my opinion. Well, of course, like using this new thing is not all sunshine and rainbows, and I really want to talk about like the pros and cons of using such a system like this. So that's what we're gonna do in the next chapter. I mean, the reason why I decided to do the problems first, I should let you guys know what's possible problems that you may encounter when you're trying this system. First thing I really want to complain about is that MATLAB, because sometimes I feel like I'm wasting some of my hours just to figure out how to like install MATLAB. Why I need MATLAB? Mainly because of uni, pretty much. That's the only reason why I need it. The problem with MATLAB is that because it's a proprietary software, you can't really, they have some licensing issues, so you kind of have to do a workaround. And not only that, MATLAB only supports Ubuntu stuff, so I can't really do it on Nix. Even when I do the workaround, even though I follow the procedures all the time, right? It only works like half of the time. I feel like I spent like hours just to figuring this thing out, but it never works out for me. It used to work, and then it didn't work again, and then after an update, it worked back again, and now it didn't work now again. So, you know, I just sort of given up. The other issue that I really want to bring up is that why does like changing time zone require a rebuild? Like, it's just, you just want to change the time. That's all you have to do. It just change the time, and you have to run this command that is meant to like rebuild your system, install new packages, changing your setup. That's it. It should be something like here. For some reason, like when you change something tiny like time zone, you need to do the same thing. Okay, I don't understand. The other thing that I do want to mention about is about the login manager, the login. For some reason, after like sometimes when I logged in, it just decided to refuse to log in. I have to log in through the TTY, aka some sort of like Linux command system, which is kind of annoying. Maybe I shouldn't have changed it. Maybe I should have like kept the GNOME DDM login manager. But I think it's ugly, and I can't really customize it much. You know, there's no option for it, so it's kind of sucks about it. I still don't know why. It sometimes happens, sometimes don't. The other thing that I do really want to mention is that the documentation can be spotty sometimes. Sometimes you just don't understand. If you can see, if this is Home Manager, which is like another program, sort of running in the Nix program manager, right? Because the config file is written actually in a proper programming language, that's why you can use it in many things. But the one other thing is that you can also have sort of a similar config file only for your home. So, you know, Linux, within the whole system, there are like all users. The home is like for each user, so you kind of have a system within the user space. If you can see, like for the Kitty, basically where your terminal, right? It says that if you want to change the theme, okay, it's using the options of programs Kitty theme file, right? However, if you like notice my home manager, the section for Kitty, you can see for some reason I use theme. Right? This is because if I actually follow the original protocol, theme file, yes, theme file, and run it again, home manager switch, give it a second, you'll see the problem soon. See? Now for some reason, The option programs kitty theme file does not exist, even though it is clearly written here that it should work. The error that they always like put out, you never really see where. They just put out some useless information in the middle, so you kind of have a look through between the lines. And sometimes, you know, you don't even know what is wrong. Even as simple as, I don't know, let's say I do a simple error. Done. Okay, see? Oh, okay, it is expected, but still, you kind of have to like see what's going on between the lines. Another kind of error, I don't know, you accidentally do this. Let's see the problems. Okay, you see it's a bit weird now. It didn't mention anything about like missing a bracket or something, which is kind of annoying in terms of debugging, because sometimes you have no idea what's the problem. Also the other thing I really mentioned, whatever home manager is, whatever the setup config is, it doesn't really go well with properly setting up NeoVim for some reason. I can't really find a way to use Nix to set up NeoVim. I have to do it from I have to go through nvim config and use directly the Lua files in order to edit it. I can't really do it the proper Nix way for some reason. I haven't figured that out. The final issue that I find is that quite specific. If you don't know, I basically just run this like volunteer computing thing. It's kind of like contributing some of your programming power in order to help science. It's called Boink. If you don't know, what happens with Nix is that some of the binary packages isn't standard. You see, like normally if it's like a normal Linux distro, it's pretty much filled with stuff. But here you clearly see there's something a bit different here. It's pretty much empty. So some of the standard packages, if it's linked properly, it won't have an issue, but sometimes those links are kind of hard-coded, so that you sort of have to get it out. I know there's this thing called NixLD, which is supposed to help with these issues, to run like hard-coded stuff, because it's not standard. Sometimes it doesn't really recognize, even when you download the packages required to run certain things here. It doesn't work. So specifically, there's some of the packages like GMP or anything like... Now, I've been looking at libgl also has an issue, which kind of frustrates me a bit, and also maybe because of NVIDIA. But honestly, out of all the things I have to complain, that's it, I think. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Did I mention about MATLAB? Also, the other thing that I really want to mention is that I feel like some of the stuff is just skill issues. Honestly, I still don't understand how flakes work. I'm sorry to tell you this. I still don't. The fact that like it's a whole ass programming language and it does have a unique way of doing things. It is somewhat of a learning curve, and for newer people who are like most used to other Linux distros like Arch and whatnot, it can be slightly daunting, not gonna lie. But however, the good news about Nix is that once you're set up everything, you pretty much don't really need to change much. But that's it, all I can say, really. Well, that was a bit intense and kind of hard to edit for me. To continue, in this section is supposed to be talk about the good stuff that I experienced running this NixOS thing. But then I think it would be better if I show you sort of my experience while I was like doing actual work, doing stuff that I normally do, instead to show you sort of my workflow in order to not only show you the good things of it and tell you an understanding of how things can be done. Right now, I'll simply just demonstrate the things that I do on this in order to show you guys what I think about this OS. One of the key things that you need to do is obviously back up the comic file, so I'm just gonna do that right now. I usually go for Yazi. EDC, right? NixOS. Yeah, there's some modules here, but I didn't really use it for this comic file. I'll just yank this. Nekomi-ch, Nix, pasted it. Is it good? Oh. Alright, it seems that things has been going well. So I just updated it, fetch this. Like, the thing about Nix is that it's pretty much as customizable as Arch. It's even easier to install than Arch in my opinion, simply because there is a GUI interface for installing. Obviously, you can go the hardcore way of manually installing the system, but you can also go for the GUI. At first, when I tried to install this thing, I used GNOME just to test out what GNOME is like, and then I was kind of bored of it after 5 seconds, because GNOME is just GNOME. There's not much you can do with it, so I just turned to Hyperland back again. That's what I'm using right now. As I'll show you the lock screen. This is the lock screen. The bottom right corner, it took me a while to figure it out because for some reason I can't move the clock to where I want, so that I have to occupy it with some letters. but this is what we got now. So this is obviously the terminal I use in Kitty, and the whole theme is kind of Nordic. That's what I was trying to go for, simply because NixOS is a snowflake OS. Sometimes they literally just call it Snowflake OS. When I started off Hyperland, it will start with terminal, a browser, and supposedly my email client, which is Thunderbird, but I didn't because I closed it. The other thing that you want to notice is mainly the bar. This time the bar, you can actually choose what you want. I customize the colors a bit just to match the theme. And as you can see that each of them has different colors, it looks rainbow. Panels, I mainly use workspaces, but I sometimes just call it panels because that's the way I do things. Obviously, you can do the shortcuts. The top, other than time, show what kind of screen you have. This is for sound. You can change the brightness here, like change increase and decrease. If I do this, if I believe, it will change it back to the original. So just in case if I dim it too much, I can just do this. Wi-Fi, battery, this is basically just B-top. And storage, the temperature, the CPU temperature, RAM, the file. Obviously, you can see Yazi when I was trying to back up my system, at the copy file mainly. But now you can also see I used Nemo, which is if I remember, is from Cinnamon. It comes with Cinnamon, and obviously I added an icon theme onto it. Now, if you really ask me about the work, I actually done several of my coursework with this, and it goes really well. One of the ones that I remember, it's usually computing. If you go to Yazi, it's basically just mainly C++, some MATLAB, you know the stuff. I could do Hello World if I feel like it. Hello World. This is for my lab reports, I believe. Yeah, those are mainly for lab reports. Not only that, I really want to show you the light novel I've been working on. You guys probably seen this multiple times already. I mostly use GTK apps because I started with GNOME. Now, I might as well show my NeoVim. This is what I've done. I've mainly just do the top, the files and stuff. However, NeoVim is on a different. I basically have to do it outside of using the Nix config file structure because of certain incompatibilities. So I sort of have to write the whole config with Lua by myself. I only write a bit. I didn't even learn Lua. I just follow some tutorials and copy and paste code really. Again, it's just me writing stuff. Obviously, you do see a lot of spelling mistakes because I also added a language server. It's still in the progress. I use fish shell because catboy. I like to eat fish. That's about it. Now, talk about the background now. I've seen a lot of people drawing anime girls as their own favorite distros. I've seen someone do that. And not only that, I decided to do that for Nix because surprisingly, no one's done Nix before. And the closest thing I see is Cerno. And I know some people say it looks like Cerno with business too because I legit thought it might use a lot of use cases in business. But I will probably like redesign it sometime. And also Hyperland-chan. I remember there's this thing is that after I uploaded this picture onto Discord, some people found this on some 4chan forums, threads or whatever, and they're asking why those girls don't have tits. I kid you not, that's what they say. I don't have screenshot, but I hope I could find it right now. To whoever that is, I just want to say, do you seriously think the world exists? Everything in the world is made to arouse you. Like the main reason I don't want to do that is because I don't want to sit on my computer, try to do work again. I mainly do use this to do work, and I use this to study. When I was trying to study for my exams, I genuinely try to use Linux instead of Windows because like this has less distractions. I don't want to sit down, open my PC, and became rock hard, okay? That's the reason. Well, there's actually a second explanation to that. Well, it's basically, please keep your headcanon to yourself. It was good, everything's designed by me. Caps lock, if you notice. That's all I can show you. I hope you enjoyed it. Jesus Christ, this video has been 20 minutes and I'm only ending it now. I thought it's gonna be an in and out 10 minutes max, you know. So after all that I just said, all in all, what do I think of it? You know, NixOS is actually kind of decent. Obviously, it's not everyone's cup of tea. Obviously, there are some issues that needs to be fixed, especially with the documentation. But mostly if you just like the concept, essentially, of how the OS is built, I think you're gonna like it. I think NixOS is gonna be one of those things that either if you really like it or you don't. Personally, I think I kind of really like it. And I feel like if you do really like it, you should put in a lot of time in order to figure out how this thing works. Because there's a lot of things that I still haven't said yet, like how the language that is used for the config file is you can actually program with it, and also how large the amount of packages this OS has. And yes, it has more packages than Arch, which I can't believe this is even possible, even when a system is that stable, if you know what I mean. And what do I want to do next? If you come to my channel, you can obviously see a lot of my content is kind of varied. And if you guys really want to, if you want to comment down, low-key I want to start streaming me trying out different other niche distros that I really want to try on stream as well. Not only that, I do have plans to rise it even further, because I've been like seeing at the same sort of setup for a couple months now and start getting bored with it. I do kind of want to change the whole thing, make a whole new makeout of it. Hell, I even thought of actually inventing my own color scheme and start actually learn how to write code, like sort of as a new project. I really want to try understand how this whole open source software really works. It's been a wild ride so far, dealing with the third operating system, and with all of its variations, it's been amazing. And I really want to use this time to also thank all the YouTubers that have helped me, that have taught me stuff, that have introduced me to this space. There's so much that I could probably forget some of them on top of my head, but I'll probably call out their names in the description. So please check them out. And also my professor who introduced me to this Linux space. It's been great. I'm so glad he's the one that taught me programming on this course, because he's pretty much forced everyone to use Linux during the exam, and pretty much he's really fine with me like carrying my own PC and show my own Linux setup, you know. He's been great. Not only that, he's actually also my academic tutor, so I double thumbs up, I would say. But that's it. That's all I really want to say. So if you really enjoyed it, please try out Linux, and also please subscribe to their channel and others who helped me. That's all I have to say. I may or may not have another Linux video soon, but hopefully I'll see you guys around. Don't forget to join my Discord and my other socials. I'll see you next time. Bye bye. When I was recording, I sort of realized myself I use certain phrases a lot, like the words anyways, or you know, or even I don't know. But I also realized that I always use the word like a lot. Like, I don't know why, I just repeating it. I feel like there's something wrong with my vocabulary. Like, I don't even know, why do I even use like right now? I'm supposed to be trying to improve this fucking situation. Like, I don't even know. Like, you know what I mean, guys? Yeah.